Hello. I just wanted to come on here and go over the different types of surfaces that we can felt on and the ones that I prefer when I do flat felting, felt mending, wool painting, and whatnot. So let's go through what most of the time we kind of get in kits, and these are the foam. These are great starter ones. They definitely do the job that it's supposed to do. However, they do not last. So I'm just going to put a little craft felt on there and just grab some wool. I'm just going to card it up a little bit and see how this felts. So I'm just going to use a multi-tool, and I'm just really trying to get it onto the craft felt and not so much embedded into my foam. And it does the job. It's fine. It does what it's supposed to do. And how does it? And it's a nice. So this definitely works. However, the thing about these foams is that they do not last. After a few stabs, they start to get very soft in the middle. That's because you're popping all of those foamy bits. And once it gets really, really soft, like this one has been used a few times, maybe a handful of times, and it's already it's pretty much unusable. There's no firmness to this. My fingers go all the way down to the nitty gritty. So this is a throwaway foam. So these just do not last. So it's great to begin with and to, really get your feet wet with needle felting, but it does not last. So good for beginning, but not so great. Another one that we get in the kits sometimes are these little foam. There's foam in the middle, and that's like a very, very thick industrial made felt that's sewn. And these are pretty popular now. They've been replacing, I've seen in a lot of the kits, these foam ones. And let's see how this felts. So again, I'm gonna grab some wool. I'm gonna just card it up. So what I'm feeling with this is that it's a little tough to get. Not that I want to get and felt into the mat, but there is more resistance, which is going to give, I think, beginner felters, oh, this isn't working, because usually beginner felters are like, I have to touch the mat, I have to go through the mat, which is not true. You're really only trying to get the fibers through your craft felt, not through the mat. This mat is just to protect your needle. So it works fine. However, that resistance is what's going to kind of make beginners be like, oh, this isn't very good to me. But it also sticks to the mat quite a lot. So I had to really pull that from the mat. So this may not be the greatest tactical, sensational use for beginners because of that toughness, and it's because of this craft foam, industrially made, and it's really, really tough to get those needles in. But again, you're not trying to get the needles into this mat. You're trying to get the fibers through your craft felt, and it did a fine job. It got those fibers in. It actually got them in even more than the foam mat. So it does a good job. Just the feeling is going to throw people off, especially beginners. Another one is another foam mat that we see a lot, and this is industrial foam. It's not as plastic, or I don't know, there's not as much air in between the pieces of plastic foam. Has a little bit of memory, so I guess you could put this in the memory foam. But it's industrial made. It's very dense. And let's see how this works. So I'll get some more wool. Just kind of card it up and place that there. My needles. This feels, your needles definitely hit the foam without resistance, like the last one that we tested out. So it works fine. And again, we're not trying to get our needles through the foam. That's not the purpose of needle felting. This foam is just to protect our needles. So yeah, it sticks pretty, just as much as the industrial foam did. It got those fibers down a lot, just as much as that industrial foam. But the feeling, because it's softer and it allows the needles, I guess, to hit it more easily, does feel better as a tactile. However, this is still foam, and after a while it will get squishy, just like this beginner foam. So I'm feeling my middle, and it's a lot softer than the edges where I don't maybe get my needle in. So these do not last as much. I also know that these create holes. So if you're stabbing a long time, like if you're really intent on getting this needle into this foam, which is not the reason for needle felting, you are going to start to create holes. And I've seen this a lot in beginners. They really go in there because they were not sure how to use their tools correctly. And they will create holes, usually in their first or second session. But this is kind of a step up from your cheapy plastic white foam. It will last longer. However, it won't last forever. This will last longer than your white, but it will start to get soft where the needle hits it. And if you're really aggressive, it will also create holes, which holes are really never really a good thing, because we need it to protect our needles. So we've got 3 out of the way. This is a popular one. This one is a wool. Everything in here is nothing but wool. It's probably been through both the needle felting process and the wet felting process to get this really, really firm. And these are what I started out with, because I didn't know better. But I do enjoy this. Let's see how this felt. Let's get some wool. Let's card that up. Let's just place it right there, and so this is so much more, it's a very similar feel to this industrial, to this gray one. There's a bit of resistance that it feels like because of the density of the wool, probably in the wet felting process, but it works just fine. And the wool is getting into your craft felt, and yeah, this is probably the one that sticks the most into the mat, probably because of the wool. The wool wants to attach to great mat. So, all right, I'm gonna show you my favorite mat that I like to work with to flat felt on. Probably have seen them like this, or even like this. And I've recently purchased this bad boy. This is my ultimate favorite surface to flat felt on. I make a lot of pelts, skin pelts when I'm doing my 3D animals. Those are just skins. And this is my preferred way to make those skins, is on what is called a brush mat. This is Dimensions. Usually don't name any companies, but Dimensions is very popular for these types of brush pads, and this has been my go-to for many years. I needed something a little bit bigger, so I found this one on just online, and then this one I found, this is a nice big, so this is a back scrubber pad that works so wonderfully. So if you can find one and you're doing bigger pieces of wool painting, this is your best one. All right, so let's test this little guy out. I'm going to actually use something bigger. It adheres with the craft felt. If you're using linen, it may not adhere as the craft felt does, because there's fibers on the craft felt. Let's grab some wool, card it up, place it there, grab my needle, and this is going through the craft felt, which is fine. And that's just because of the brushes are attaching to the fibers, which is great. I love that. It won't move. It won't go anywhere. And it got a really nice flat felt. So this is what I like. And I'll show you kind of like a skin. Pretend this is a skin here. All right. I'll just place my wool. And if I need to make skins for my animal, this is my preferred way, just to make a nice flat felt, or even make a canvas for my wool paintings. This is a nice big one, but I can still do it with a smaller one. You're just piecing them together. I can show that to you too. I'm just gonna pull this off. Flip it around. So I have a nice flat piece that I can use and put onto my sculptures. This is my preferred way to add pieces on if I'm using something smaller. I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to place this a little bit to the edge and then just add more. So if I need something bigger and I don't have the big brush mat, I can make bigger. I've done this for years too, to make bigger pieces of flat. So this is my preferred way. I've adopted this way for a few years now, and I have to say this is my favorite way to flat felt. No more holes in my mat, no more having to replace my mats because these brushes are so durable. And I get such a wonderful flat felted piece for my projects. If I'm doing 3D felting, wings, skin, or if I want to do some wool painting, actually I'll get the smaller one. If I want to do some wool painting, this is such a perfect surface to paint on. And I hope that never really sticks, which is great. So a brush pad is my ultimate choice. Foam pads are my backup choice. This firm mat, it's like craft felt, and the wool pads are probably not my go-tos. Again, the wool sticks too much, and it's just kind of an extra frustration I don't need when I'm working on my needle felts. All right, I hope this helps you guys. Happy felting. Thanks.